Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank IDC for the invitation. I will speak in a moment about who I am and what GovWise is, because it's important for the scope of this session. But second of all, I have a goal to share three main ideas with you today. The first, my humble ideas, let's say. The first is how I think generative AI will transform the way we do business with public sector and innovation in public sector. And second, the way the B2B and the private sector will work with the public sector. And at the end, why the ICT community, why all of us should tackle generative AI to sell more to governments. Okay, so what's GovWise? GovWise is a startup-backed, private venture-backed project, and we built basically a big data open space about a big data space with public procurement open data. Okay. And we have currently more than 1 million documents being processed from public procurement in Portugal, in Spain, and some international EU tenders. So we decided to do this because we believed that by applying AI, data science, and so forth, we will come up with a product that is on the verge of tackling and solving and saving 80% of the time that each user and each person spends while dealing and selling to government. You have there an idea of what we are, and more recently, of course, we didn't spend time and we started applying generative AI on the data we have and on the problems we know that happen in this public procurement process. That said, I will set up a little playing field on the conclusions that I want to finish. So you see here what the main innovation areas that are more relevant to tackle about trustiness or about trust in governments. I think you all agree with me that what we are seeing about disinformation and so forth, it's a big problem for democracies, it's a big problem for how governments deal with us. Okay, GovWise orbits around open data, orbits around responsible AI, and even in disinformation, because basically if we are getting insights and if we apply responsible AI in public procurement data, we have the responsibility of providing good insights, but at the same time we will, let's say, tackle this big media corruption style that is arising on democracies. Why this is important? I brought here two charts. So the first one, it's related with what I was talking about. 4 in 10 persons don't trust in government. Okay, so this is one thing. The other is that about 50%, so that's the main average, don't have satisfaction while using services in government. You can see here Portugal with around 50%. I divided these two because the second one is related, in my opinion, of course, with productivity. Okay, so it's not related to the mediatic buzz around those stuff that we hear on the news. Well, I think if you know government and if you work with government, and And I will sum up this slide in three major ideas. So the first is that public teams don't have the necessary hardware, software, technology. I think we all agree that the public sector is a little bit behind in those type of advancements in technology. The second, it's related to skills and lack of skills in government. But this happens, of course, all around our companies. So there's so the offer and demand of technology people is clearly under availability. But third, and that is the most important, that we are basically, or in the public sector, or the public sector is a regulated business. And in my opinion, it's good that it's that way, because it guarantees that companies and citizens and governments follow the rules and have a process. But this is too heavy for the people that are working in public sector teams, such as people in the public procurement teams or whatnot. And that's the point I want to highlight, because if we see this graphic here, these points, this is from McKinsey, these points, as well, the other industries in all the world, but this points a 48 billion productivity, in fact, on the public sector by applying generative AI. So I want to relate this with the previous slide, because if we tackle the way to unblock or to take out of the equation the need for the public teams to have knowledge about regulation, so regulated issues, legal issues, technology issues, skills around data and data science and AI. If we tackle that with generative AI, we have this potential here to unleash. So that's why I said that, in my opinion, generative AI could impact at the same velocity on other, when compared with other industries. Okay, so a few examples, a few use cases that, from my knowledge, throughout these 2-3 years around AI and public sector. These are 3 examples in Portugal of application of generative AI. So the first one, it's related to how can the public sector provide better services. The first example was the chatbot that the Ministry of Justice built with the help of a few technology companies to easily respond to citizens about stuff related to marriage. How was this built? What does this involve? So first, collaboration between institutes. Second, access to data to train the models. Where is this data? The data is on customer care contact centers with the questions that citizens do. This is on other type of data, legislation, fiscal legislation, and so forth. Third, privacy on data. So to build this was needed to understand what type of data, privacy data was there, and to apply and to transform the data throughout synthetic data or other type of technology, and train models and put the product in the market. So basically to bring products that solve problems with generative AI in the public sector, if you follow these steps, you can quickly deploy tools to better provide service to companies and citizens. We have a few examples more on how generative AI could act. But as you can see on the other side, I probably assume that a few of you have knowledge of this accelerator of public procurement, or have knowledge of the program that was launched by the Ministry of Justice to involve startups and public institutes to deploy better services. So in one hand, you have several avenues to tackle. On the other, what you can see here in Portugal, is not being, we can do better, all of us, and have impact, of course. Okay, so to finish, last use case, more specifically, of course, on my experience, on GovWise knowledge, and why I believe we are in the verge of disrupting at least one big part of public spending, that is public procurement, okay? So I will look to public procurement on two sides. So on the supply side, so on the company side, so there's a problem on companies accessing public procurement and to sell, so lack of competitiveness. I think we all agree that many suppliers should be involved in public procurement. What is happening now? For example, GovWise has a tool that in 1 minute puts the public documents, the qualification of that public documents, and has a generative AI tool to generate a proposal according to that public procurement document. So in the past, we had a process, a very strong process, and with a lot of time involved. Now with generative AI and with the ability to extract data from all sources, intending platforms, open data, we can put the information to new suppliers ready to bid, to follow, and even to follow the regulatory process in that country, okay? Second, we can see this on the buyer side. So my role here today is to highlight what can be done with generative AI, and this is a practical thing. What you have here, it's a study on the public procurement process of what generative AI and AI as a whole can impact the supplier's finding, identify savings, help on contract management, identify base price automatically according to benchmark. So we have here the way of people that are in public procurement teams and have all these steps to do to at least divide it in 50% or save 50% of the process. You can ask me, how can we do that? So we can do that by transforming and collecting big data, and fortunately to have generative AI pre-trained on that big data. So if we have basically the capacity to the generative AI to read 1 million documents, for sure, if it's well trained, we'll identify a base price for a specific need, the suppliers that are most suited to supply, and all of this. And this is the main idea that I want to leave here with you, is that, okay, so if we have open data, and open data is a trend, and it's available to all of us, including the private sector. And if we have LLM technologies available to work on that data, of course, text is more advanced than video and so forth. But if we have that, there's no, I believe, no blocker to create a business, to create money flowing to the private sector, of course, creating new business. And in terms of user adoption of the public sector, it will be easier. And why? Because of generative AI. And to finish, if you basically work with the public sector team, you know that data analysis and those type of skills are difficult to learn. So what people need, including the public sector, is a tool that reads for them and provides information for them. So the user adoption blocker to sell to the public sector new technologies, new solutions, in my opinion, will decrease greatly with the application of generative AI. And fortunately, in the future, I hope many of us in the ICT industry will tackle this industry, because in my opinion, of course, it's not to be utopic. There's also a social responsibility that companies have to support our democracy and the need to have governments and good governments. Thank you.